Oh, wow.
Saw it twice, so I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up, like a headlight, but there was nobody there.
Oh, it's just disappeared.
Why this area? Why that hillside? Your guess is as good as mine. It was almost as though his torch had ignited a little moon. Do you ever ask yourself why certain places seem to attract or produce many different variants of unexplained phenomena? Is it actually the location? Is location key? Or is it a combination of location and individual or individuals? I'm going to touch on a few short accounts now where members of our team, plus people coming up to the area with an interest in the unexplained, have seen and experienced a lot more than they bargained for. And I talk about Lee Haywood. And I can never talk about Lee Haywood without first saying that Lee is very skeptical about the subject of UFOs, unexplained phenomena. And he came up onto the clifftops with me to try and help me explain what we had been seeing in a more logical way, and came away scratching his head and quite confused because he couldn't explain what he saw. And we will do that one in more detail later. The one that I want to cover in more detail today is something that happened to Jeremy, who is part of our team on the clifftops. And on this particular evening, it was thick with fog. And quite honestly, Jeremy saw more than he bargained for.
And as I approached the seat, I looked over. I saw something out of the corner of my eye on the right-hand side, and I looked over, and there was it was probably there for a second, but just on the edge of the mist. So it was probably about 50 yards away.
Right.
Actually on the ground. So it wasn't in the air; it was on the ground, and it was just a disc. It was a white disc. It wasn't bright. And it didn't look three-dimensional. It just looked like a
as though it were a piece of cardboard just cut out, or a plate.
Yeah.
How big would you think?
It was probably about 6 foot diameter ish.
Did it surprise you?
Yeah.
And it didn't frighten you at all, did it?
No, not at all, because I stopped and I just shone my torch around, because it disappeared, like I said, after about a second or so it had gone.
Nothing terrifying, nothing too untoward, just something that he never expected to see. And I'm going to walk you into that shortly. But why these locations? Why are so many people seeing things of a highly unusual nature? I think these are the things we've got to ask ourselves. And please remember that just because you haven't seen something, just because you haven't experienced it, does not mean it doesn't exist, does not mean other people are not seeing and experiencing things of a highly unusual nature. So let's jump onto the cliff tops and see where it leads us. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm just going to talk about a collection of strange events that have occurred in and around this very area. I don't know if the camera's picking up that mist, but it looks absolutely brilliant tonight. And the first one I'll touch on is what myself and Lee Haywood saw back on November the 14th, 2019.
The surrounding of the light itself was about the size, I would say now, looking at it and thinking back then, about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. That was the influence that the light had. And you couldn't see anything in the light except for undulating light patterns, almost as if you were staring at lava.
Yeah. And we were looking onto this hillside. Or should I say Lee was looking onto this hillside. I was setting a camera up looking out to sea, talking to Lee, I turned round and there's a huge sphere in the field with us, and literally in the field, and not above the brow of the hill, not miles away, but in the field. And Lee's comments were that the influence that this light gave off was as big as a Volkswagen Beetle. And you know what? He's correct. Both myself and Lee saw that. No mistaking it, not misidentification, not swamp gas, weather balloon, Chinese lantern, whatever you want to call it. We definitely saw what I've just explained to you. And if people don't want to believe it, I've not really got a problem with that. I know what I saw and I'm comfortable in my own skin saying that. Okay, well, the next one I want to touch on occurred around here. And I'll inject Jeremy's audio into this as we go through it. So I'll walk down to this bench rather quickly and tell you what happened. So Jeremy's walking down here alone in the night. In his peripheral vision, on a misty night, in the field, he sees a white disc. Not in the air, it's just on the ground. It's flat, imagine a dinner plate on the ground. He saw it for a couple of seconds, then it vanished. He's on his own on the cliff top, so he left his bag there and his other bits and bobs, maybe a camera, walked over into the field. And remember, I think it was February time 2024, and he stood there hoping, like we all do, as crazy as it sounds, that something might happen, something might present to give him that little bit of proof that he needs, that little bit extra. If he needed any more proof after seeing what he'd seen, that's what he stood there waiting for. But nothing.
Through what?
So, talk us through what happened that night with that. So how far down were you?
So I was down by the bench you can see in front of us.
Right.
I was walking down here
Just
because
facing in that direction.
yeah, because it was on the right hand side that I saw it out the corner of my eye. So,
So if you point that over at that field,
I'm
we've got a full moon tonight, haven't we?
yeah.
Which obviously on a camera is going to look tiny compared to what we can see now.
Yeah.
So what that moon, what I'm looking at now, which I'm going to get a picture of to add to this, probably looked as the size of the disc that you saw in field. That's what I'm getting at, did it?
Yes, yeah. It was. You were talking about 50 yards away, and it was 6 foot in diameter. So yeah, very similar.
And lower down, you know where we're looking at it in field?
Yeah.
Like looks like it's on brow. How far in field was it?
It was so you see to the left of where the moon is at the moment. You see the field that looks a little bit more yellow.
Yeah.
If you imagine it just being this side of the brow, actually on the actual ground.
Right.
So it was. It wasn't up in the air. It wasn't elevated. It was just sat.
And it weren't a trick of the light or your imagination, you don't think?
No. It was too vivid to be that. I mean, it was a very similar sort of brightness to how the moon is at the moment, maybe a little bit duller.
Obviously we know moon's up miles up in air, but what I'm meaning is it must have been quite close because it was a foggy night, weren't it?
It was, yeah, and when I was walking down here, it wasn't as foggy as it got later on though, so it did get progressively worse. But
well, obviously we can't walk in field because there's a crop, but we're at the bench now. Is this where you saw it then?
So yeah, I was pretty much level with the bench when I saw it, so it would have been in the field here.
So we're looking at
where those
walking field, by the way, but
yeah, pretty much straight in front of you, where the lines are in the crop itself.
So in field though.
Yeah, but not on the brow. This side of it, probably about a third of the way down.
And a white disc that kind of looked. If I took another picture of this.
It sounds ridiculous to me telling you about it now, so I really don't know what people would think if I told them. I've not told anybody. Obviously, I've told you and
probably
and the gang, but
15,000 people on YouTube.
potentially,
Yeah,
potentially. Thanks for that, Paul.
No, I don't know, but
Yeah, it was definitely
how long
there.
do you think it lasted?
Probably a second. It was it was long enough for me to actually notice it out the corner of my eye, to start to turn to look at it, and then it had gone.
And
But
what did you do then? So you left
I was
your
at the
bag here?
bench, so I left my bag on the bench. There's nobody else about. I mean, it was, what was it, September, October time, was it? I can't remember.
yeah.
Ish.
Well, yeah.
There's nobody else about. Nobody else is stupid enough to come down here in the fog anyway. At that time of night.
I've got to say this, you're the only one that wanders off into at night, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all stand pretty much as a collective, we stay together. So you left your bag here.
Yep, left it here, and I walked straight out into the field where I saw it.
And no cropping field, so
No.
you're not damaging out.
No. And I just stood out there probably for 15-20 minutes, just basically hoping it might appear and asking it to appear.
Yeah.
Basically, I stood in the middle of a field talking to myself for 20 minutes.
Which sounds crazy, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
But it's not as crazy as you think when you consider people that are seeing weird stuff now. So that's two short accounts. You know, the orange sphere, which was over there, and then if we pull all the way around to here, the white disc. Why this area? Why that hillside? Your guess is as good as mine. But things are also seen out to sea. Let's not forget that. We've got spheres of light. And I'm keen to stress for the people that think that all of this is misidentification and we're not actually seeing what we're claiming to see. I would think that 98% of the time the reports are coming from people unconnected to our group. People are reporting and seeing things of a highly unusual nature all the way up and down the East and North Yorkshire coastline. So I've just told you about the Lee Hayward sighting. I'll see if I can get Lee to say a few words about that. Told you about Jeremy's sighting of the white disc, and there's one more. And during the evening when we come up in the week, say about 9:30, there's a guy called Mark comes up who lives in Bempton. And when he comes up, we have a natter and he stands talking to us, but he has a habit of running his torch along the contours of the land, in fact just above. So he has a habit of running his torch, picture my finger, just above the contours of the land. And he'll do that, I don't know, 2 or 3 times while he's up there. And on this particular occasion, incredibly on this particular occasion, I'm watching the torch beam. Ian's there, Pete's there, but they're not actually watching this torch beam or talking to us. I'm just talking to Mark and looking at the torch beam. And the beam of his torch lit up, ignited a white sphere. A little white sphere. Imagine a 2p piece at arm's length. That's what it lit up. Mark said a few swear words and said, "Oh, what was that?" I did the same. What is interesting is that Mark and myself saw it over there. And a few weeks before that, Jeremy saw the white disc in the field. Okay, so that's 2 in close proximity within a close time frame. Obviously there's a few years between seeing the orange sphere of light, what myself and Lee Hayward saw, but that's 3 incidents.
No, well, it's strange that obviously that was a couple of weeks after you and Mark saw that light on the hill as well.
Yeah, so to describe that one, Mark's tracing his torch along contours at land. We both saw it, and he literally, it was almost as though his torch had ignited a little moon. You know, I mean, there's no other word for it, and that was just literally 1 or 2 seconds and it had gone. Mark said, oh, I went, yeah, what was that? You know, we couldn't believe it.
About there somewhere. There was something there.
It was like a little moon that lit up.
Oh, above the horizon.
We're saying like a little moon. It weren't really, was it? It were, you know, it was bigger than the stars. It was like, what would you say about like a 2 pence? So where do you think that bauble then, Matt? Go on. Right, but yeah, you're about on it. And there's Ian at the end of the cliffs, and we'll be up here for I don't know, a few hours. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed that short walk and talk along the cliff tops. If you have, please press the like and subscribe, and until the next time, bye bye.
Oh, wow.
Saw it twice, so I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up,
Yeah.
like a headlight, but there was nobody there.
Oh, it's just disappeared.